Part 21. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 201. Xiaoping'an had people convert the property silver that was counted at Xuanhuan Villa into bolts of silk, and distributed it all to those poor families whose children had been robbed over the years in accordance with the rules of tribute. Each family had 50 bolts of silk. In just a few days, it was like a big drama was being staged inside and outside Daesu City. First, countless children who had been robbed and taken to Xuanhuan Villa recognized their parents, with a mixture of sorrow and joy. Then, the governor's pension was distributed, and countless people in Daesu rushed to tell each other. In front of the governor's office, almost every day there were chickens, ducks, and fish sent by the people of Daesu in gratitude. As for the things sent by the people, Xiaoping'an had people accept them, and then ask the chefs in the governor's mansion to make broth and enjoy them with the officials in the governor's mansion. Xiaoping'an's memorial to the court was sent out after he wrote it. 3 days after the memorial was sent out, a team of people who had traveled a long way came from afar. After entering Daesu City, they went directly to the governor's mansion. "Yang Cheng, you are so bold. This dwarf from Daesu City is tribute to your majesty. He is smart and interesting. Your majesty likes it the most. The queen in the palace is colorful and all the nobles also like it. When foreign envoys come to Chang'an, your majesty often gives way to Daesu. The dwarf theatrical figurines who paid tribute to the city are performing in public. This thing that has been paid tribute to the state city for hundreds of years can be stopped at your request. Do you take the court and his majesty seriously?" In the lobby of the governor's mansion, Xiaoping'an was sitting at the head. A white-faced eunuch wearing eunuch clothes was sitting next to Xiaoping'an, with a sharp voice and orchid fingers raised, sternly accusing Xiaoping'an. This eunuch was the local tribute envoy of Emperor Dizong of the Tang dynasty. He was an eunuch who specialized in supervising and inspecting tribute items from various places to the court. Although his official position was not high, because he was someone close to the emperor and worked for the emperor, he was regarded as the emperor's special envoy. His majesty was far from that of comparable to ordinary officials. This local tribute envoy originally sat in Hangzhou, supervising the local tributes from all over Hangzhou, and lived a leisurely life. It was only after hearing about what Yang Cheng had done in Daesu City that he hurriedly led a group of when people arrived at Daesu City, they looked like they were raising an army to investigate. Xiaoping'an drank tea slowly and waited until the tribute envoy finished speaking, and then said calmly, "Eunuch Chen's words are wrong. The Tang law stipulates that tribute items are only for those who have them, not for those who have nothing. There are only dwarf people in our state, and there are no dwarf slaves. There is no reason to pay tribute to the common people. This is the first. Second, the people of Daesu are short. If we pay tribute, who can provide it? My father-in-law just happened to come to Dao. Zhou Cheng, why don't you take a closer look at Daesu City to see if there are any other specialties from Daesu that can be used as tribute? If there are any, I will definitely pay tribute." Xiaoping'an also wrote these 2 reasons in the memorial to Tang Dizong, which makes sense. The translation of this is that according to the imperial law, the tribute can only be paid to things that are available locally, such as local specialties, and cannot be paid to things that are not available locally. Daesu only has short people and no short slaves. Treat the people as tribute. In addition, the people in Daesu were poor, had poor real estate, and had no special products, so they could not contribute anything. The eunuch choked on Xiaoping'an's 2 words. He was at a loss for words and was so angry that he was shaking all over. He pointed at Xiaoping'an and said, "Okay, okay, okay. Everyone knows that your Yangkong sect is proficient in legal and legal texts. I can't explain it you, if you dare to stop paying tribute, don't regret it. I still have official documents to deal with. If nothing happens, Eunuch Chen, please come back." Xiaoping'an directly served tea to see the guests off. Outside the hall, a group of officials from the governor's office watched in fear as Xiaoping endured the pressure and made all the tribute envoys around the emperor angry. When Eunuch Chen left angrily with his entourage, a group of officials carefully walked into the palace hall. Sir, Eunuch Chen will definitely return to Hangzhou to file a complaint against you with the observation room. The observation room will definitely send someone. An official reminded. I know, everyone should do their own thing, Xiaoping said calmly. The observation envoy sent someone. This was something Xiaoping expected. He had been prepared for it. It's just that the Judge Kui who came this time, although his name was not recorded in the history books, was also a man of loyalty and integrity, so Xiaoping was not worried. Sure enough, within a few days, Judge Kui from Hangzhou came directly to the outside of Dezhou City with his troops in the name of urging the police. Urging officials means urging local officials to turn over local money, grain, and taxes. The judge has the responsibility of supervising. If he encounters an unjust official, he can directly take him down. All the officials in the governor's mansion went out of the city to greet him. The judge who came to investigate was a man in his 40s, with a Chinese character face, 2 thick eyebrows, and a strong build. He was riding on a tall horse, and was accompanied by dozens of men wearing official clothes and riding horses. They were equipped with swords and bows. Full of evil spirit, as if coming to war. The judge's sharp eyes swept through the officials in Dezhou City and found that they were all familiar faces. He didn't see Yang Cheng, and his face darkened. Why don't you see Governor Yang? Master Kui, Governor Yang is in prison, an official from the governor's office stepped forward and reported in a low voice. Chief Yang is in prison. What's going on? Judge Kui was shocked. He hadn't even taken action yet. How could Yang Cheng be in prison? Ahem, I heard that Mr. Kui was coming to urge me to take the exam. Mr. Yang felt that it was not good for him to do so, so he went to the prison and locked himself in the prison, saying that he was waiting for Mr. Kui to come. Take me to see. Yes. Officials from the governor's office led Judge Kui and his men into the city. As soon as he entered the city, Judge Kui felt that the atmosphere in the city was not right. In the past, whenever he went to a place, the people he met would not dare to look at him. Even if they saw him, they would be in awe. But today when he entered Yangcheng, the people in the city, the people on both sides of the street, ranging from 80-year-old men to young children, no matter men, women, old or young, all looked at the group of people with hatred on the roadside. Wherever they went, except for the sound of horse hooves, the streets were quiet, and everyone looked at them piercingly. It felt like entering an enemy country, not like Dezhou City in Hangzhou of the Tang dynasty. Judge Kui and his subordinates were sweating coldly. Judge Kui came to the prison in Dezhou City and saw Xiaoping. Xiaoping was wearing prison uniform, sitting in the cell, writing on the desk. Judge Kui came to Xiaoping and saw Xiaoping. There were only 8 words written on the table: I am poor in science and administration, and I am tired of writing words. Xiaoping put down his pen and looked at Judge Kui calmly. Master Kui is here. Yang Cheng is incompetent. If you want to kill or scrape, please do whatever you want. Judge Kui sighed. If he said anything to push for punishment at this time, it would be insulting the intelligence of both parties. He saluted Xiaoping and left the prison without saying a word. He left Yang Cheng with his men and returned to Hangcheng. The state went to reinstate the observation mission. The observer was furious and once again ordered Judge Kui to capture Yang Cheng and bring him to Hangzhou. Judge Kui returned to his court and said to one of his men, Yang Cheng of Dezhou is really a sincere gentleman and the father and mother of the people. If I arrest him, won't I become a despicable villain like Zhou Xing and Li Junchen? In my heart I'm afraid I won't be able to sleep peacefully again in my life. I, Kui, can't do this job, so you can do whatever you want. After saying this, Judge Kui took out his official seal and hung it in the lobby, and then left the lobby. That night he left Hangzhou with his wife and children and disappeared without a trace. The Hangzhou observer knew that Judge Kui, who was under his command, actually put up his seal and left his job, and fell silent. Eunuch Liu, Yang Cheng refuses to accept the soft and the hard. I can't do anything to him. If he continues to make trouble, I'm afraid it will trigger a civil uprising in Days Hu. I think it is up to your majesty to decide on the matter of tribute in Days Hu. Observation envoy, he said helplessly to that eunuch Liu. Okay, I will go back to Chang'an to ask for an order. If Yang Cheng dares to stop paying tribute, let me see how long Yang Cheng can run. I don't believe that your majesty will let him do whatever he wants. Eunuch Liu was angry again. Left. More than a month later, in the Daming Palace in Chang'an City. After reading the memorial sent by Yang Cheng from Days Hu, Li Shi's heart was filled with excitement. He left Zikan Hall and took a stroll. Unknowingly, he arrived at the altar and ancestral hall. Seeing Li Shi's arrival, the eunuchs guarding the ancestral hall quickly knelt on the ground. Walking into the ancestral hall and looking at the tablet of Empress Dowager Ruijin in the ancestral hall, Li Shi's deep eyes softened in a rare way. This is the tablet of his biological mother Shen. The title Empress Dowager Ruijin was given by Li Shi after he came to the throne because he missed his biological mother. That's all. Li Shi sighed softly and shook his head. Li Shi in Chang'an City just said 2 words. At the same time, Xiaoping'an, who was in the study of the governor's mansion in Days Hu City, was caught off guard, and the entire world of Jizu was shattered into light rain. The surging divine power began to wash over Xiaoping'an's body over and over again. When the physical sensation disappeared, Xiaoping'an's consciousness had appeared in the temple of the secret mandala. The newly added divine power in the sky caisson in the mandala reached a full 100 points. This divine power seems to have exceeded the upper limit that can be achieved by fusing this world bead with perfect fusion. Zheng Ti was not dead, and Shui Yu was not demoted. The change in fate of these 2 people really changed the result of merging this world pearl. Xiaoping'an's mood was a little uplifting. At this time, his consciousness was in the secret mandala. The experiences he once had in the world bead became like a dream after waking up, hazy and no longer seemed so real. What is real is the change within the secret mandala. There is another golden sculpture in the temple. The content of the golden sculpture is Yang Xuanhuan wearing a festive and auspicious robe of an immortal official, holding a jade ruyi, and then a boy with 2 cute pigtails wearing a red belly band. Lying down at Yang Cheng's feet with a smile, grabbing Yang Cheng's official uniform naively. The Yang Cheng in the sculpture is no longer an official of the Tang dynasty, but the image of the god of fortune. The boy is lifelike and can be summoned. In addition to this sculpture, the previously fused sculpture of BNK is also in the temple. The sculpture of the god of fortune lights up the word Bai on the golden mountain in the temple, while the sculpture of BNK lights up the word heal. Xiaoping'an thought for a while, and then directly began to inject divine power into the sculpture of the god of fortune, preparing to summon the Xuanhuan boy to take a look. With the injection of divine power, Xiaoping'an became more and more surprised. As far as he knew, it seemed that only 60 points of divine power were enough to summon this boy. But he kept injecting divine power, and the Xuanhuan boy never appeared. In the blink of an eye, the amount of divine power he injected exceeded 100 points. After the amount of divine power he injected reached 180 points, the boy in the sculpture walked out of the sculpture in a flash of light. As the boy was summoned, a piece of information suddenly appeared in Xiaoping'an's head. This was not the Xuanhuan boy, but the god of fortune boy. The cute boy who was summoned had the word written on his belly band. He was extremely naughty. As soon as he appeared, the figure of the boy who was the god of fortune flashed and disappeared from the place. He shrunk in half and climbed to the Xuanhuan sculpture. On his head, he touched Xuanhuan's face and grabbed the fire next to Xuanhuan. In the next second, the figure of the lucky boy grew bigger again and appeared on the mountain of golden words, stepping on the activated words happily. Jumping around. Seeing what Kenji was writing in the distance, the lucky boy suddenly came to Kenji's side, returned to his original shape, and reached out to grab Kenji's beard. Kenji smiled, and used the jade pen in his hand to touch the forehead of the boy who was the god of fortune. There was a little round red cinnabar flower in the boy's eyebrows, making it even cuter. With a flicker of flowers on his eyebrows, the blessed boy disappeared from the temple in an instant and came directly from the secret mandala to the real world. Xiaopingyan was startled. When he opened his eyes, he saw the god of fortune boy grabbing his ears, stepping on his shoulders and climbing up to his head. Seeing Xiaopingyan open his eyes, the lucky boy kissed Xiaopingyan on the cheek, laughed playfully, called "Dad, Dad" twice, and disappeared from the underground training room in an instant. Xiaopingyan touched his face, feeling as if he was dreaming. Does this blessed boy call himself Daddy? What's happening here? He looked at his secret mandala and saw that the god of fortune boy was no longer there. He searched around the basement, but there was no trace of the god of fortune boy. Could this lucky boy run away on his own? Xiaopingyan felt that all this was incredible. The god of fortune, please don't cause any trouble. Xiaopingyan took out his pocket watch and looked at it. It only took more than 2 hours to fuse the world bead of the god of fortune. Xiaopingyan came out of the underground secret room. It was already dark outside, the twin moons were like mirrors in the sky, and the stars were shining brightly. It was the beginning of the nightlife in the capital city. Xiaopingyan searched everywhere in the newly rented yard, but there was no trace of the god of fortune boy. This lucky boy is too naughty, I don't know where he went. Just when Xiaopingyan had given up looking for the trace of the god of fortune boy, a picture suddenly appeared in Xiaopingyan's mind. The Dewan Guild Hall appeared in Xiaopingyan's sea of consciousness. The disappeared boy was sitting on the door of the Dewan Guild Hall. He looked like a ginseng doll, less than a foot tall, with 2 chubby little boys dangling from his head. With his little feet, he was leisurely looking at this interesting world. The street outside the Dewan Guild Hall was busy with people and traffic. 4 descendants of the Tang family from Dewan City were standing at the door of the Dewan Guild Hall. However, no one on the street seemed to be able to see the people sitting on the door of the Dewan Guild Hall. There was a cute child wearing a red belly band hanging there. A gorgeous 4-wheeled carriage stopped at the entrance of the Dewan Guild Hall. Xiaopingyan saw the gloomy-faced elders of the Tang family and Tang Long getting out of the car, and then the lucky boy sitting in the door of the Dewan Guild Hall, shaking his feet, walked directly from he jumped on the door and landed on the head of the Tang family elder. Xiaopingyan almost screamed when he saw this scene. But the Tang family elder didn't realize it. He was greeted by the owner who hurriedly walked out of the guild hall and walked into the guild hall door. He didn't know that he had a lucky boy on his head. Xiaopingyan was secretly shocked, but then something happened that left Xiaopingyan speechless. He saw the god of fortune kid kicking Elder Tang's head bitterly, then standing on Elder Tang's head, lifting his belly band, the little bird was exposed, its belly was stretched out, and it peed directly on the head of the Tang family elder. As soon as the urine was peed, it all splashed on the heads of the Tang family elders. A layer of black air suddenly appeared on the heads of the Tang family elders, which didn't seem to be a good sign. From the beginning to the end, the Tang family elder and the people around him were completely unaware. Damn it, this lucky boy is too strong, all of this will work. Xiaopingyan was stunned and speechless. You all go down, no need to wait, I'm a little tired today, I need to rest. The elder of the Tang family entered the guild hall, waved his hands, said to the people around him, and then held the lucky boy on his head. He returned to the room. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 202. 2 days later, at night, Tianyuan Kiao Night Market. The taxi stopped in front of the tall archway outside Tianyuan Kiao Night Market. The driver quickly jumped out of the car and opened the door for the passengers sitting in the car. With a humble and flattering smile, he said, "Sir, Tianyuan Kiao, the night market is here." As the door of the taxi opened, Xiaopingan, wearing a decent black robe, a close-fitting tapestry vest and a snow-white shirt under the robe, and a silk hat on his head, got out of the car gracefully and glanced at the brightly lit street. He glanced at Tianyuan Kiao night market, with a smile on his face, and then threw a few silver coins to the driver. "No need to look for it." "Thank you, sir." The coachman smiled even more eagerly, and at the same time he secretly admired his own vision. Looking at the passenger's clothes, he knew that this passenger was indeed a man who was not short of money and was generous with his actions. "Sir, I need you. Am I waiting for you here?" "No, I want to stroll around more," Xiaopingan said. "Okay, sir, please go slowly." After the coachman finished speaking, people coming out of the night market waved to him. The coachman got on the carriage, drove it over, and took over the business again. When he came to Tianyuan Kiao night market again, Xiaopingan felt a little excited when he saw the turbulent flow of people in the night market. "The last time I came to Tianyuan Kiao night market, I didn't have much money in my pocket. I was disappointed and got into trouble. I didn't go to the night market much. When I came here today, Xiaopingan wanted to have a good stroll and sweep up again." Xiaopingan's heart felt hot when he thought of those world beads in the night market. This is the biggest advantage of a city like Shangjing City. Resources from all parties are gathered here. As long as you have money, you can buy a lot of world beads here to improve your strength. Boundary beads that are not easily seen in other places can be obtained in exchange for the most mundane things here. For Xiaopingan now, when he goes to the night market again, he feels a bit like riding a crane down to Yangzhou with 100,000 yuan in his pocket. Now Xiaopingan is already thinking about how to start a profitable business in Shangjing City. The shadow guards of the adjudication army can make money quickly, but it is not easy to make contributions in the shadow guards, and they are always working with their heads on their heads. If he has a job that can make him money for a long time, he won't be left in vain, and he won't have to worry about the world pearl in the future. In the past 2 days, Xiaopingan mainly stayed in the yard where he lived, monitoring the elder of the Tang family with the God of Fortune boy, and thinking about making money. Occasionally he went out to stroll on the street outside and bought some more thing. Xiaopingan originally thought that he could see what the God of Fortune saw and heard at any time. However, in the past 2 days, he slowly discovered that what he could see and hear was not at all his decision. It seemed that it is decided by the God of Fortune. Although the God of Fortune boy was his summoned object and was vaguely connected to his soul, the little guy was very naughty and could not command him at all. Xiaopingan only felt that the little guy was staring at the elder of the Tang family, but the picture in his head was just it only appears occasionally, not all the time. At the beginning, Xiaopingan felt a little uncomfortable, but soon, Xiaopingan felt that this was good. If pictures of other people's lives appeared in his mind at any time, even the elder of the Tang family went to the toilet. It's too disgusting to stare at people who poop and pick their toes. It might even cause schizophrenia. The little guy knows very clearly what information is important, so the information sent back by the little guy is not useless. For example, on the first day, the elder of the Tang family stayed in the guild hall all day, sitting quietly in his room reading a book. The little guy only sent a few scenes at different times, which probably allowed Xiaopingan to know what the elder of the Tang family was like. "What are you doing? What books are you reading? What is the taste of the food you are eating?" Today during the day, the elder of the Tang family went out again in a carriage, and the little guy followed him all the way, sitting directly on the head of the elder of the Tang family and participating in all activities. Xiaopingan saw the elders of the Tang family going to an auction house, a newspaper agency, and a trading house in Shangjing City. They visited several people who had business dealings with the Tang family and had 2 meals. Through the God of Fortune boy, Xiaopinggan saw all the scenes of the meeting between the Tang family elders and those people, and found that the two parties were only discussing some business cooperation matters, and others were purely in contact with each other to build relationships, without anything unusual. Tonight, the elder of the Tang family returned to the guild hall to rest again. The little guy didn't send any more pictures, so Xiaopinggan came to Tianyuan Kiao night market. Tianyuan Kiao night market is as lively as last time. However, there are some differences. There seemed to be a little more police here today than last time. Those policemen were all wearing police uniforms, and their eyes were scanning the people coming and going in the night market, looking quite vigilant, as if they were looking for someone. "Sir, have you seen these people?" Xiaopinggan had not gone far in the night market when two policemen came over to ask. The fat policeman who asked the question took out a wanted notice and looked at it carefully at Xiaopinggan while he was talking. Holy shit! The first person on the wanted list is Xiaopinggan himself. The topmost thing on the wanted notice was not a photo, but a portrait of Xiaopinggan. The portrait was 90% similar to Xiaopinggan, and Xiaopinggan's name was prominently listed. The first time I rented an apartment, I left my real name. As long as I found the landlord, it would not be difficult for the police to know my name. In addition to himself, there were two other people on the wanted notice. The other two wanted people were the two master summoners of the Air Yang realm who brought people to the apartment to ambush him that night. Those two people were bounty hunters, one named Pang Tong and the other Deng Xiahua. Unexpectedly, they were also wanted. Looking at his own portrait, Xiaopinggan's face remained calm, but he asked curiously, "Are these people together? What did they commit?" "Well, these people are in a group." The policeman probably didn't understand what was going on. He just nodded mechanically and replied seriously in official terms, "These people are involved in a very bad crime. It's related to a murder case, and if you can provide useful clues to the police, you can receive a reward of up to 10,000 gold coins from the victim's family." Wow, 10,000 gold coins, this is not a small amount of money. I hope if I can see these people, they will not miss this opportunity to make money. You can keep this wanted warrant. If you find anything, you can contact us. The policeman, like a small advertisement on the street, handed the wanted warrant directly to Xiaopinggan. After chatting with the policeman for a few words, Xiaopinggan left. At the same time, Xiaopinggan also knew that Sun Hao's disappearance and death should have been discovered by the Sun family. 3 days after the incident, no matter how slow the Sun family members were, they came to their senses. If Sun Hao had been kidnapped and Sun Hao was still alive, then if Sun Hao had been missing for 3 days, the kidnappers would have at least contacted the Sun family to demand ransom, and these three God, the Sun family has not received any news, and there is no news from Sun Hao. Then the possibility of something unexpected happening to Sun Hao is already very obvious. Sun Hao's uncle is one of the top officials of the Shangjing City Police. It is not surprising that the wanted order came out so quickly. What surprised Xiaopinggan a little was that the two bounty hunters hired by Sun Hao that night were also wanted. Bounty hunters are all characters who lick blood with their swords, and that night Sun Hao broke up with them on bad terms, which ended up in tense situations. Of course, the people of the Sun family had reason to suspect that they would take revenge on Sun Hao. They were desperate. A bounty hunter who doesn't get paid is capable of anything with a grudge. Haha. You deserve it. Thinking of the faces of the two wanted bounty hunters at this moment, Xiaopinggan felt as comfortable as eating iced bayberry on a dog day in summer. He almost couldn't help laughing. Those guys were also unlucky. They calculated first. He had lost his wife and soldiers, was tricked by Sun Hashui and had to sacrifice his life for money. In the end, he was actually wanted by the Sun family and became a wanted criminal in the Great Shang Kingdom. Sun Hao first saw him at Tianyuan Kiao night market. At the same time, this was the favorite place for bounty hunters, so the police came here to look for clues. My portrait is quite handsome. Xiaopinggan glanced at his portrait, muttered in his mind, folded the wanted notice and put it in his jacket pocket. The night market is still lively and crowded. Soon, Xiaopinggan was attracted by the world beads sold on the street. His index fingers were moving, his eyes were shining, and he was ready for a big shopping spree. Assassin's World Pearl, there is an Assassin's World Pearl here. A voice from a nearby stall attracted Xiaopinggan's attention. Assassin's World Pearl? What kind of world bead is this carat? Xiaopinggan, who heard the voice, walked over directly and squeezed into a stall on the street. The owner of that stall is a woman in her 20s with a sharp face and a bunch of pigtails. The woman is wearing short leather armor and a short knife hanging on her waist. She looks untouchable. The only thing in that woman's stall is there is a world bead that emits a faint red light. Xiaopinggan looked towards the boundary bead and saw a line of small golden seal characters in the boundary bead that appeared and disappeared, Tianguang Luniang. This illusion is very familiar to Xiaopinggan. Jingke was the talent discovered by Tianguang. Tianguang was an outstanding person, and his way of looking at people was unparalleled. What a pity. This world bead can summon assassins, but it can only summon junior assassins. A person next to him looked at the world bead and shook his head regretfully. What's a pity? Junior assassins are also very powerful. They can kill people invisible. And if you can get the world bead at the back, then the junior assassin can also be upgraded. The more you go to the back, the stronger you will be. Moreover, this world bead has no life after fusion. It's dangerous, even without the help of the divine crystal, the chance of success is only 1/4. It costs 1,100 gold coins. It's too expensive. The man who just shook his head regretfully said again. This kind of world bead, which is not life-threatening even if the fusion fails, is of course expensive. The people around were commenting. The woman selling the world beads became a little impatient and waved her hand. If you want to buy it, buy it. If you don't buy it, get out. Don't stop me from doing business with your chatter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 203. The woman selling the world beads was very aggressive and not easy to mess with. The two people who had just gathered in front of the stall seemed to be preparatory summoners who had just arrived in the capital. They wanted to come here to see it, so they did not argue with the woman. After muttering a few words, he left. 1,100 gold coins is simple to say, but the boundary beads of Fortune Boy and BNK that Xiaopinggan exchanged from here last time only cost about 500 gold coins in total. The price of 1,100 gold coins is considered a little expensive among the world beads. You can buy 3 or 4 ordinary world beads. Even in Shangjing City, you can buy a house with more than 1,100 gold coins. The pricing of world beads is like this. Those world beads that have a relatively high fusion success rate, can have summoning positions and will not kill people even if the fusion fails, are often sold at very expensive prices. This type of world beads are very popular. Welcome. There is no shortage of rich and powerful summoners in Shangjing City. For those summoners, this kind of world bead is their favorite. What are you still standing here for? Do you want to buy it? If you don't want to buy it, leave immediately. The woman glanced at Xiaopinggan and softened her tone slightly when she saw that Xiaopinggan was well dressed and looked like he was rich. Xiaopinggan smiled and said, "Girl, I am standing here. Of course I want to buy it. I sincerely want to buy it, but the price is indeed a bit expensive. Can it be cheaper?" Hearing that Xiaopinggan wanted to buy it, the woman became more energetic and looked at Xiaopinggan again. "Okay, I'll give you 20 gold coins cheaper." "Don't be cheap by 20 gold coins. I think you are a cheerful person. Girl, your psychological price for this world bead should be around 1000 gold coins. If you wipe out the fraction of 100 gold coins, I will buy it for 1000 gold coins. 1000 gold coins is not a small amount for Xiaopingan, but this world bead summons an assassin. Not only can he kill people mysteriously, but the summoned assassin can also continuously fuse with other world beads to improve his abilities. Xiaopingan, I felt that this world bead would be of great use, so I was not stingy with the 1000 gold coins. Sure enough, when Xiaopingan said this, the woman's eyes lit up. Can you pay now? Or do you want me to wait for you with the beads sealed? If you seal the beads, it won't be at this price. Sealing beads is also a rule for selling world beads in this night market. If someone likes a certain world bead, but cannot come up with so much money at the moment, he can discuss with the seller and let the seller seal the beads for a few days and wait for him to collect it. If you have enough money to buy it, the buyer will pay a small deposit in advance to seal the beads, and then the seller is not allowed to display or trade the beads to other people within the sealing date agreed upon by both parties. Because the buyer and the seller are not familiar with each other, and it is a large transaction, sealing the beads will involve the integrity of the transaction, so the insurance company in this night market came into being. As long as a small fee is paid, the insurance company seals the beads for both parties. The transaction provides a guarantee. The seller stores the beads in the insurance bank. When the date comes, the seller can take out the beads and sell them. If the buyer breaks his promise, he will bear the corresponding losses. I'll give you a golden ticket, you can trade it now. Okay, I'll sell it to you for 1000 gold coins, the woman said simply. Xiaopingan directly took out a 1000 gold coin gold ticket from the equipment space he carried and handed it to the woman. The woman checked the gold ticket and found that there was no problem with the gold ticket, so she took the Tianguanlunyang boundary bead. After handing it over, the two parties simply completed the transaction and went their separate ways. 2 days ago, Xiaopingan felt that his net worth of about 10,000 gold coins should be quite good. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, he got an assassin's world pearl and his net worth shrank by 1/10. Xiaopingan was walking in the night market, looking at the boundary beads on the street. There were many boundary beads on the stalls in the night market, many of which Xiaopingan had fused before. He had just spent a lot of money, and he would buy more later. As for boundary beads, Xiaopingan looked for those cheap boundary beads and bought them. But soon, Xiaopingan spent more than 700 gold coins to buy 4 boundary beads at several stalls. Among these 4 boundary beads, there are 2 divine power boundary beads. One divine power boundary bead has Sujao written in 2 small seal characters on it, and the other boundary bead has Xiaopumin written in 3 small seal characters on it. Divine power world beads, successful fusion only increases divine power. Failure to do so has a very high mortality rate, especially the latter one, so the price is relatively cheap. The 2 world beads add up to just over 200 gold coins. In addition to these 2 world beads, there are 2 world beads with summoning spells. One world bead has the word Zhulong written on it, and the other world bead has Tang Oath written on it. Listen. It is said that the successful fusion of the Zhulong world bead can master earth-based summoning spells, and the successful fusion of the Tang Zhao world bead can apply buffing spells to the summoned characters, making the summoned mission more powerful. Zeng, these 2 world beads may die if the fusion fails, so the price is not expensive. After walking around in the night market, he spent 1,700 gold coins in the blink of an eye. Xiaopingan's net worth suddenly shrank by 1/6. It was really like spending money like water. However, Xiaopingan did not stop. He continued to visit the night market and was planning to buy a few more boundary beads. Xiaopingan was thinking that if he used his remaining assets sparingly, he should be able to reach the Air Yang realm. The One Yang realm requires an additional 630 points of divine power to break through, while the Two Yang realm requires an additional 840 points of divine power to break through. To break through to the two-yang realm, the upper limit of divine power in your secret mandala must exceed at least 1,470 points. While Xiaopingan was walking in the night market, he muttered and thought in his heart, he still had to find a profitable business, otherwise his little money would not be enough to spend. As for the profitable business, it is difficult for the poor to make money, and in the end the best thing is to make money from the rich. There are the most rich people in Shangjing City. What are the consumption habits of this group? Health and longevity are what everyone hopes for, not just the rich. If you can summon Hua Tuo and a first-level elixir master, you should be somewhat competitive, but this competitiveness is not the core competitiveness. What you have is also shared by others, so I think it's a bit unrealistic to make a lot of money from this. Apart from that, what else do those rich people care about? Naturally, how can they continue to live a prosperous and wealthy life for eternity? This is a bit broad to say, but it should be an entry point. The quickest way to earn money is from the black and white business, but a money-giving boy like Sun Hao is also rare. I am a small summoner of the One-Yang realm, and in the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Shangjing City, in this place, if you want to engage in a business of cheating and cheating, you are getting tired of living. Xiaopingan was walking in the night market and unknowingly came to a lively place in the night market. There is a 4-story attic on the street. The attic is brightly lit, and the wind chimes on the attic jingle in the night wind, like playing music. Outside the attic is a courtyard connected to the night market. There are waterside pavilions and cloisters, willow leaves and lotus breeze, and it is quite quiet. Outside the courtyard is a small square. Dozens of gorgeous black 4-wheeled carriages are parked in the small square, seemingly queuing up. Just as Xiaopingan was looking at the attic, a lady wearing a dark green velvet cloak and a black gauze hat covering her face walked down from the attic under the escort of a guard and a maid, and walked through the loft. After returning to the water pavilion corridor, he came out from the side door of the courtyard, got into a black 4-wheel carriage, and left directly. The next second, a 12-13-year-old boy wearing Xingyi with an airy appearance walked out of the attic, walked across the yard to the square outside, and said loudly without changing his expression, the one who got the number 8 card. Please come to Wu Tower. Hearing this, the door of a carriage pulled by 4 or 2 pure white horses opened in the small square, and then a middle-aged man with a big belly stepped out of the carriage. Boss Su, have you come to Wuilutu? The window of a carriage opened, revealing a middle-aged man wearing glasses and saying hello to the man who got out of the car. I had a strange dream recently, and the dream kept tumbling around in my head. I finally asked someone to arrange a sign, and I wanted to ask Master Shuiyu to interpret it to see if it was good or bad. Boss Su said with a smile. Okay, you go first, I'm number 11, I'll come back in a while. The middle-aged man wearing glasses said with a smile. Boss Su nodded, quickly came to the young man in Xingyi, respectfully took out a sign and handed it over. The young man took the sign, looked at it, nodded, and then led Boss Su into the yard, passed through the waterside pavilion, and then climbed the stairs. And many people on those carriages looked at Boss Su with envy as he climbed up the stairs. Is it such a big deal to interpret someone's dream? There are actually so many people waiting here. Xiaopingan took a look at the 4-wheeled carriages waiting. None of them were rental carriages. They were all private carriages, and all of them were accompanied by coachmen, guards, and maids. They were all wealthy people in the capital city. People. This is too incredible. Seeing a kind-looking man passing by, Xiaopingan quickly stopped in front of the man and asked, "Brother, please ask, what is this place for? Why are there so many people queuing up?" The man glanced at Xiaopingan and saw that Xiaopingan was polite and well-dressed, so he patiently said, "This is Wu Building, where Master Shuiyu interprets dreams. Master Shuiyu is the most famous person in the capital. A dream interpreter can use dreams to predict good and bad luck, and to see blessings, don't you know?" Xiaopingan blinked, Dream interpreter? There is such a profession in the capital. He is ignorant and didn't know it before. Oh, are all those people who come to line up here to interpret dreams? Certainly. Excuse me, how much does Master Shuiyu charge for interpreting a dream? Haha, do you think it's enough to have money? You still have to queue up. If you queue up with Master Shuiyu, each number will cost you 30 gold coins. 30 gold coins for interpreting someone's dream. Xiaopingyan looked at the dozens of carriages lined up outside, made a calculation in his mind, and was instantly shocked. Damn it, if you do this, you can earn thousands of gold coins in one night. Even if you are a gangster, you can make money like this. Ha ha ha, looking at your appearance, brother, I guess you have just arrived in the capital. 30 gold coins are nothing to interpret a dream. Some divination masters can cost dozens or hundreds of gold coins for just one divination. Those who have this is what money people believe. The man who was questioned by Xiaopingyan looked at Xiaopingyan with contempt, then shook his head and left with a sense of superiority. In just a short time, in less than 3 minutes, Xiaopingyan saw the bossu who had just gone upstairs come down from upstairs and leave in a carriage. Got 30 gold coins in such a short time. The arrogant young man in green from before shouted outside again, whoever got the number 9 card, please go to Wu Tower. The door of a carriage opened, and then, a woman who also didn't want others to see her face, wearing a black gauze hat, got out of the carriage with the help of a maid, and then walked into the yard with the young man in green, crossing the waterside pavilion and cloister. I wonder how good Master Shuiyu is at interpreting dreams. Xiaopingyan thought in his mind, and immediately used his remote viewing ability to follow the woman and the maid into the Wu building. The Wu building is magnificent and elegant, and there is incense inside the building. After entering the building, the maid beside the woman who entered the building stayed in the small hall outside. Only the woman wearing a veil walked through a door and bead curtain under the leadership of the young man in green clothes, and then came to the inner room. An old man in a white robe was sitting behind a coffee table. It seemed that the old man was pretty good looking, with white hair and white beard. However, Xiaopingyan felt that the old man was a little too refined and deliberate, and seemed to be lacking a little the true demeanor of a great person. The woman who came in took off her hat and revealed her true face. She was a woman in her 40s who still had charm. The woman sat opposite the old man, worried. Master Shuiyu, I had a dream the day before yesterday. In the dream, I dreamed that I was at home and suddenly someone sent a lot of cloth to our home, saying that they wanted to make clothes for me. I don't know what happened. What's the sign? Is my husband raising a concubine outside again? Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 204. The woman dreamed at night that someone was bringing cloth and silk to her home, so she was worried that her husband would marry a concubine again. Interesting. Xiaopingyan was watching from outside with his remote viewing ability. At the same time, he also wanted to see how Master Shuiyu interpreted dreams. Under Xiaopingyan's gaze, Master Shuiyu, who was wearing a white robe, picked up a pen made of gold and white jade from the table, gently touched the woman's eyebrows, and felt faint fluctuations of divine power. In the middle, I saw a ball of light shining between the woman's eyebrows, and then, the woman's dream last night, like the light and shadow shaking in the water, appeared in the mist, wrapped in a mass of mist. In front of those two people, the light and shadow seemed real and illusory. In the light and shadow, Xiaopingyan actually saw someone bringing cloth to the woman's home, saying that it could be made into clothes. In less than a minute, the light and shadow dissipated. Master Shuiyu gently put down the jade pen in his hand and touched his beard with an unpredictable expression on his face. Master, how are you? The woman asked nervously. MRS Gan, that dream does indicate that your husband may bring back a concubine. Your husband has fallen in love with a beautiful woman outside. Master Shuiyu said calmly. Hearing this, there was a trace of tears in the woman's eyes, and she began to wipe her tears sadly. I would rather my family not be so rich, just like before. The family can be happy and have enough food and clothing. Since he came to Shangjing City, the better life at home, the bigger the business, and the richer he is, the more women he has found. He already has 7 concubines at home. Why is it not enough? I just have sex a little bit. When he was in the 1st grade, he liked the new and disliked the old, and started looking for young girls. Master, is there any way to resolve this matter? Dreams are a kind of omen. If handled properly, they can indeed be resolved. However, this kind of thing has many causes and consequences. Mrscan should know that I dare not guarantee it. I can only do my best and rashly interfere with other people's cause and effect. It's not very good for us, we can only partially intervene. I understand, Master Lao is here this time. The woman said, taking out another golden ticket from her sleeve and handing it over. When Xiaopingan saw the denomination of the golden ticket, he shouted in his heart, "Holy shit, that's a golden ticket worth 100 gold coins." Master Shuiyu received the gold ticket, opened a drawer in front of him, then took out a piece of silver, then picked up a pen next to it, then with a serious look on his face, he used cinnabar to draw on the piece of silver like a ghostly peach charm. He picked up a bunch of things that no one could understand, then carefully wrapped the piece of silver in red cloth, tied 2 complicated knots, and handed it to Mrscan. "Madam, please put this dream-transforming talisman into your husband's pillow. Make sure he sleeps on that pillow all night. After he sleeps, madam, take out this dream-transforming talisman from your husband's pillow. Don't let others see it, and then throw this dream-turning talisman into a flowing river. This matter may be resolved." "Thank you, Master Shuiyu." As if taking over a treasure, the woman carefully put the painting handed over by Master Shuiyu away with the red cloth, then stood up, saluted Master Shuiyu again, and then left. Watching Mrscan leave, Master Shuiyu showed a smile on his face. "Damn it! That's it? In just a few minutes, you got more than 100 gold coins? Including the previous gold coins, this woman could buy a world bead for the cost of 1 visit to interpret her dream." Xiaopingan was so jealous that his eyes turned red. Seeing this scene, Xiaopingan was certain that Master Shuiyu had an 80% chance of being a liar. First of all, Master Shuiyu did not interpret the dream correctly. Someone sent cloth and silk to her home. From the perspective of dream interpretation, it indicates that distant relatives are coming to the woman's home. Maybe it is the woman's natal family who is coming. Secondly, what Master Shuiyu said was based on what the woman said. They were all ambiguous words. These words are all the same rhetoric used by those gangsters who tell fortunes. No matter what happens next, you will know. I feel that what he said was right. If the woman's husband had not brought back the concubine, the woman would have thought that Master Shuiyu's dream-changing talisman was effective, and would have more trust in Master Shuiyu. If the woman's husband if the leader brought a concubine from home, the woman would also think that Master Shuiyu had spoken about this matter. Master Shuiyu had already spoken about it beforehand, and the dream transformation talisman did not completely resolve the matter. Finally, from the perspective of Xiaopingan's rune master, the things that Master Shuiyu wrote on the silver pieces with cinnabar did not have any fluctuations in divine power or charm of Taoism. They were just painted blindly. There were just a few things. The cost of silver coins was defrauded of 100 gold coins in the blink of an eye. The only real skill of Master Shuiyu is that when he touched the woman's eyebrow with a jade pen just now, he was able to reproduce the woman's dream last night. It seems to be a secret method of the summoner. From Master Shuiyu judging from the aura on his body, Master Shuiyu is a summoner, but he is not yet in the Yi-Yang realm, and the aura of divine power on his body is very weak. The secret method that allows people to reproduce dreams seems mysterious and somewhat magical. It is precisely using this secret method as an introduction that Master Shuiyu's various tricks and words can flow smoothly and make people believe it. If you want to ask why Xiaopinggan knew that the woman's night dream of someone bringing cloth to her home was a sign that distant relatives were coming, it was very simple. The ancient Chinese dream-telling culture and the influence of dream-telling culture on Chinese history. Unlike other nations, ancient China was the only country that set up formal official positions for dream diviners. Dream fortune-telling has always been valued by kings and rulers in ancient China. It is by no means the behavior of charlatans. The ancient Chinese people had a deep understanding of dreams. Unparalleled research has been done on dream divination. Monographs that systematically discuss dream divination have been published very early on, such as Yellow Emperor's Changliu Dream Divination Sutra, Dream Interpretation Book of Zhougong, etc. Many ancient Chinese sages were divinationists. Dream masters, such as Duke Zhou, Yan Zhi, and Di Renjie. Since the Zhou dynasty, the imperial court has set up official positions dedicated to dream divination, and there are two official positions, one is a part-time dream divination, and the other is a full-time dream divination. Defu also masters three methods of dreaming, one is called dreaming, the second is called dreaming, and the third is called Xianzi. Its operation is 10, its difference is 90. The method of dream fortune telling is to correct the 6 dreams of dreams, nightmares, thoughts, sleep dreams, joyful dreams, and fearful dreams. The culture of dream interpretation has also had a profound impact on Chinese history. The most well-known impact of dreams on history is King Wen of Zhou dreaming of a flying bear and finding Zhangxia. There are many others, among which the most influential and least known one is Wu Zetian dreamed that she could not win in backgammon, so she asked Di Renjie to interpret her dream. Di Renjie said that the meaning of the dream was that Wu Zetian had no children, so Xuanhuan was unable to win. It was God who used Xuanhuan to warn Wu Zetian. Wu Zetian woke up and registered in Luling. Wang Lijie is the crown prince. If it hadn't been for the dream interpreted by Di Renjie, the crown prince might have been Wu Sanxi, and the entire history of the Tang dynasty and China might have been rewritten. After the woman left, those waiting in line entered Wu building one after another to find Master Shuiyu to interpret their dreams. Master Shuiyu's level of dream interpretation is sheer nonsense in Xiaopinggan's opinion, but his ability to deceive people is first class. Those who come to Master Shuiyu to interpret dreams, some people not only interpret dreams, but also others ask for help. Like that woman, she made some requests for Master Shuiyu to help resolve. At this time, Master Shuiyu began to write his dream-turning talisman, fooling those people into being stunned, and at the same time, they were all grateful. Xiaopinggan only watched outside for half an hour when he discovered that Master Shuiyu had actually made 500 or 600 gold coins by relying on this trick. For Xiaopinggan, this was like discovering a new continent. Damn it! I didn't expect this industry to be so profitable and so easy. My ability to interpret dreams is inherited from Duke Zhou. He is the master of ancient Chinese dream interpretation and a first-level figure in the world of dream interpretation. I have memorized Dream Interpretation Book of Duke Zhou by heart. I am 10,000 times better than Master Shuiyu. I am still the master of dream interpretation. An authentic rune master is 10,000 times better than Master Shuiyu in drawing runes. Master Shuiyu can prosper in Shangjing City by interpreting dreams, so there's no reason why he can't do it himself. The only thing is that Master Shuiyu's secret method of reappearing other people's dreams seems very gimmicky and very bluffing. I don't know what this secret method is. If I master it, how can I be a dream fortune teller here in the capital? Isn't it very easy and making a lot of money? At that time, do I still have to worry about not having enough money to buy the world beads? Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 205. By the time the carriages on the small square outside Wu building had already left, there were still a lot of people queuing up. The number plate for Wu building had just been called number 16. Looking at those carriages, Xiaopinggan looked at the ripe wheat, waiting for harvest. No, it's not waiting for people to harvest, but these long ripe wheat will automatically run into other people's bowls. Another person left Wu upstairs. The impressive young man in green walked out of the building and crossed the courtyard waterside pavilion to call for someone again. Xiaopinggan was waiting at the door. As soon as the young man in green clothes walked out of the door, Xiaopinggan stepped over one step ahead and blocked the young man in green clothes. At this moment, several dissatisfied looks came from the carriages behind, all focusing on Xiaopinggan's back. However, the people in the carriage did not get off. The people who came here to find Master Shuiyu to interpret their dreams were all decent people who would not make noises and shouts in public, and because everyone knew that Wuilu followed the rules and there were no complaints. People with cards can't get in. The glances from the carriage were waiting for Xiaopinggan to be frustrated. This little brother has invited me. Is Master Shuiyu here? Xiaopinggan asked with a pleasant smile. As he spoke, he stretched out his hand and handed a gold coin to the arrogant young man in green. The boy in Xingyi originally wanted to get angry and scold him, but as soon as the gold coin sank, the boy in Xingyi's mood improved. It was not easy for him to meet such a high roller who could give him a gold coin upon meeting him, even here. Therefore, the young man in green clothes also spoke much more politely. This is Master Shuiyu's Wu building. If this young master wants a license, come back tomorrow at noon. Master Shuiyu only accepts guests who have received the license. Oh, that's it? This is my first time in the capital. I heard that Master Shuiyu is great at interpreting dreams. He actually has a secret method to see other people's dreams. I also want to ask Master Shuiyu for advice. I don't know if I can see other people's dreams. What is the origin of the secret technique, and can it be learned? Turns out to be a country bumpkin? The young man in green glanced at Xiaopinggan again, raised the corner of his mouth, and said proudly, Master Shuiyu's secret method is dream enactment. If you want to master this secret method, you must be a summoner, and you must also be able to. It only takes a successful fusion of a Dream Master World Pearl. The Dream Master World Pearl is not cheap, costing thousands of gold coins. Master Shuiyu only became a Dream Master after merging the Dream Master World Pearl. It turned out to be the ability provided by the so-called Dream Master World Pearl. Xiaopinggan suddenly understood and continued to ask a question. I wonder where I can get the Dream Master World Pearl. The boy in Xingyi raised his eyebrows. There is one in the auction house of this night market, but don't think that you can become a Dream Master with the Dream Master World Pearl. 100 people with the Dream Master World Pearl can successfully fuse together. It's good to have one, but it's not that easy to be a Dream Master. Thank you for telling me, brother. I will come back to visit Master Shuiyu when I have time another day. Xiaopinggan smiled and cupped his hands, and then left neatly. The boy in green put the gold coins in his pocket and shouted to the queued carriages, whoever got the number 17 plate, please go to Wu Tower. Xiaopinggan left here. For Xiaopinggan, since it is the magical ability provided by the world bead, it is simple for him, as long as he gets a world bead. Originally, Xiaopinggan planned to buy a few more world beads in the night market, but after hearing the young man in green say that the price of the Dream Master world beads was exaggerated, costing thousands of gold coins, Xiaopinggan did not spend any more money and prepared to buy it first. Let's wait until we get the Dream Master world bead. At this moment, Xiaopinggan has made up his mind to become a Dream Master in Shangjing City. Damn it, it's so easy for this Dream Master to make money, and there's no danger. If you want to do this, you're definitely better than Master Shuiyu. The night market is still very lively. Xiaopinggan was thinking about the Dream Master Realm Pearl at the moment, so he just wandered around Wuxia. Seeing a shop selling boundary beads on the side of the road, which looked quite large, Xiaopinggan went in directly. Boss, do you have the Dream Master World Pearl here? Xiaopinggan asked directly as soon as he entered the store. The fat boss of the store took one look at Xiaopingan and smiled, and said kindly, "Guest, you want to come to my store to pick up the leaks. The Dream Master World Bead is too expensive, and those who get it usually send it to the auction house. The price you can get at the auction house will be higher. You can go to those auction houses and ask, are there many people buying the Dream Master World Bead? Of course, there is no danger in fusing those Dream Master World Beads. Although the success rate of the fusion is not high, after the fusion, you can not only increase your divine power, but also master the secret method of dreaming. In the future, you will have one more skill to make a living. Naturally, a rising tide lifts all boats. There are more than one kind of Dream Master World Pearl. Xiaopingan was stunned for a moment and rubbed his face. He thought there was only one kind of Dream Master World Pearl. Yes, there are several kinds of Dream Master World Beads. Once you master those Dream Master World Beads, you can master the art of dream interpretation. Thank you, shopkeeper, for telling me. You're welcome. The boundary beads sold in my store are not much more expensive than those sold outside. They are basically the same price. Many of them are sold for friends. There are many categories. If you need them in the future, you can come and take care of the small store business. Seeing that the boss was kind and well behaved, when Xiaopingan walked out of the store, he looked up at the store's sign and remembered the name of the store, Basolin. After confirming that the Dream Master World Pearl was only available in the auction house, Xiaopingan went straight to the auction house. On the street of Tianyuan Kiao Night Market, there are several auction houses, large and small. Xiaopingan first stopped by two smaller auction houses to ask, and got the same answer. Neither of these two auction houses had the Dream Master World Bead, and then, Xiaopingan went straight to Pengwang Auction House, the largest in Tianyuan Kiao Night Market. Napengwang Auction House is located in the most prosperous area of the core area of Tianyuan Kiao Night Market. Outside the auction house is a huge square. The square is dozens of times larger than the previous square outside Wuya building. There are also fountains in the square, and the auction house outside the gate. There is a huge golden rock standing with its wings spread, which is particularly eye-catching. When you enter the gate of the auction house, you are at the feet of the golden rock. Behind the gate, there is a huge building. From the outside, it looks like a huge opera house. As soon as Xiaopingan entered the auction house, someone came up to him and asked what services Xiaopingan needed. After some communication, Xiaopingan finally got the information. Jinpeng Auction House had the Dream Master World Bead, and the Dream Master World Bead would be available in 3 days. Put it up for auction in a small auction. The ticket price for the auction 3 days later is 5 gold coins. Xiaopingan spent 5 gold coins to get an admission ticket for the auction 3 days later, and then left Pengwang Auction House. By the time Xiaopingan came out of Pengwang Auction House, it was already late, almost late at night, and some stalls in Tianyuan Kiao Night Market had begun to close. Xiaopingan left the night market, hailed a taxi outside the night market, and returned to his small courtyard at the foot of Pingshan Mountain. I came to the night market tonight and gained a lot. In addition to buying a bunch of world beads, I also found out how to make money in Shangjing City. Xiaopingan was in a good mood. There are still 3 days before the auction. During these 3 days, Xiaopingan is going to fuse the world beads he got first, and then find time to go to Dashang Library in Shangjing City to see if he can find some information about the Tower of Darkness. There were not many people on the road at night. The light of the gas lamp on the road glowed faintly in the darkness, attracting large numbers of mosquitoes to fly around the gas lamp. Only occasionally, a carriage ran on the road, and the crisp sound of horse hooves echoed on the road. Not long after sitting on the carriage and running less than half the way, Xiaopingan suddenly saw the image of the Tang family elders again in his sea of consciousness. The elders of the Tang family in the room were already resting in bed, but suddenly, the elders of the Tang family opened their eyes, climbed up from the bed, and quickly changed themselves into a set of black robes, with a look on their faces. Putting on the bull-headed grimace mask, in the blink of an eye, the elder of the Tang family transformed, and the man who was chasing Xiaopingan appeared. Seeing the Tang family elder finally transformed, Xiaopingan in the carriage was shocked. The Tang family elder's foxtail was finally exposed. After doing all this silently, the elder of the Tang family went to the study room of the bedroom and pressed a few times on a cabinet in the study room. The cabinet slid open, revealing a dark entrance to the underground. The elders of the Tang family entered the underground entrance, restored the study room to its original state, and then walked underground along the underground entrance. After walking almost 100 meters, an underground river appeared in front of the elder of the Tang family. A cloud of black mist enveloped the elders of the Tang family. The elders of the Tang family immediately jumped into the underground river and swam quickly to a certain place with the river water. From the beginning to the end, the god of fortune boy was inseparable from the elders of the Tang family. The Tang family elders were standing, and the lucky god boy was sitting on the Tang family elder's head. The Tang family elders turned into black mist and jumped into the underground river. The lucky god boy was riding on the Tang family elders' necks, giggling and plump. His little feet were dangling, but the Tang family elder didn't notice it at all. After the elders of the Tang family floated along the underground river for more than 20 kilometers, the water in the underground river suddenly surged into a large river from a water hole in the ground. That big river is Xuanhuan River. The elders of the Tang family, wrapped in black mist, were like a strange big fish swimming in the river. The Xuanhuan River is wide and deep. From time to time, you can see the huge bottoms of large ships on the Xuanhuan River slowly passing by on the water. After swimming under the water for half an hour, Mr. Tang swam to the bottom of a large ship. He clung to the big ship and gently knocked on the bottom of the ship a few times. A few seconds later, an isolation cabin at the bottom of the big ship was opened, and the black mist of Tang's elders poured into the isolation cabin. Strangely enough, people can get in through the open hatch at the bottom of the boat, but not a drop of water under the boat can get in. Standing in front of the elders of the Tang family was a man wearing a black robe and a ghost mask on his face. The man held a flashing blue bead in his hand and pressed a switch in the isolation warehouse with one hand. The underwater hatch slowly closed. This waterproof bead is good. With this bead, you can explore the demonic dragon palace on the bottom of the sea. The elder of the Tang family said in a hoarse voice, "It's just too much trouble to meet here. This is the capital city, right under the eyes of the Judgment Army, so you have to be careful." The man holding the beads spoke. Judging from his voice, he was probably 40 or 50 years old. "Are they here? Already arrived?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 206. The elders of the Tang family followed the man wearing a ghost mask and walked forward along the passage at the bottom of the boat. The lucky boy who was sitting on the head of the Tang family elder also looked around curiously. Just when Xiaopingan was curious about what this big ship looked like, the god of fortune boy had disappeared from the head of the Tang family elders and appeared almost instantly on the chimney of the huge superstructure on the ship. Xiaopingan's entire the field of vision suddenly shifted from the bottom of the ship to the highest point of the ship. The sight he saw shocked Xiaopingan. This is a huge cruise ship of tens of thousands of tons, almost 200 meters long, with 4 huge chimneys standing on the ship. At this moment, this huge cruise ship is sailing slowly on the Xuanhuan River. The deck of the cruise ship is brightly lit and lit. With strings of colored lights, Xiaopingan could also see a lively dinner being held around the swimming pool on the upper deck of the cruise ship. Countless well-dressed celebrities and ladies were drinking and chatting on the deck, and a band was playing cheerfully. Music. This is the life scene of the upper class in Shangjing City. Sit on a cruise ship, drink, and have fun on the sparkling Chinan River, and party all night long. With a flash of his body, the God of Fortune boy came to the carnival crowd on the deck below, jumping around on the table with wine, cheese, and fruit plates, and from time to time shuttled around the beauties in long skirts. I would occasionally pull the hair of those beauties, kiss their faces, or slip under their skirts. Xiaopinggan just wanted to give this boy a thumbs up. He felt that this boy was too smart and knew everything he wanted to see. However, in a blink of an eye, Xiaopinggan discovered that this boy actually liked to tease beauties. Among the beautiful women, the shuttle boy's face still showed an intoxicated expression. No one on the deck noticed the arrival of the lucky boy. While the God of Fortune boy was walking among the beauties, Xiaopinggan also saw the name of the cruise ship. The name of the cruise ship could be seen on the lifebuoy of the Heikan cruise ship. This is a big gain. If the Tang family is always a member of the Blood Demon sect, this cruise ship Heikan is definitely one of the Blood Demon sect's strongholds in Shangjing City. The owner and captain of the Heikan are definitely inseparable from the Blood Demon section. This is a great achievement. Xiaopingyan was a little excited. After the lucky boy quickly slipped around on the deck, the next second, the lucky boy disappeared from the deck and entered the cabin on the first floor. Inside the cabin is a huge casino covering an area of several thousand square meters. Xiaopingyan saw countless people gathering at the gambling tables in the cabin to gamble, and it was extremely lively. The next second, the lucky boy left the casino and went to the next floor. This next floor was a theater with countless beauties performing song and dance performances. A group of scantily clad women were shuttled among the crowd, chatting with each other from time to time. People here laugh. Further down, Xiaopingyan saw the kitchen and restaurant on the cruise ship. Countless staff are busy in the restaurant and kitchen, and the kitchen is in full swing. On the next floor, Xiaopingyan saw countless pipes, machinery, and gears. This floor was stuffy and hot. A large group of workers in the bilge were like ants adding coal to the boiler and maintaining various pipes on the ship. And machinery and equipment. The workers at the bottom of the cruise ship had gray faces, and most of them were working shirtless, sweating down their backs. A few supervisor-like people were shouting and giving orders using vulgar words in the cabins and engine rooms below. The lucky boy walked around the boat in the blink of an eye, and returned to the Elder Tang's side in the blink of an eye, sitting on the head of the Elder Tang. On the floor below the workers, Elder Tang and the man walked through a narrow passage in the deep darkness and finally came to a spacious and airtight room. There is a long black table in the room. The main seat of the long table is a pale high-backed chair made of countless human skulls. The number of human skulls on that chair alone is at least 200. Many. On both sides of the long table, there are chairs made from other human hand bones, leg bones, and other bones. In the middle of the long table, there were blood-red candles burning. There were a total of 6 people wearing black robes and ghost masks sitting on both sides of the long table. There were just 2 empty seats around the long table. Although there were people in the room, no one spoke, and the atmosphere was strange and cold. The Tang family elders and that person entered the room, and the number of people in the room became 8. The elders of the Tang family casually found a seat at the edge of the long table and sat down. The person who brought the elders of the Tang family here sat next to the elders of the Tang family. The seats on both sides of the long table were full, but the main seat composed of skulls was still empty. Hey, we haven't been together for a long time. I don't know why the altar master has called us together this time. Does he want to do something big in Shangjing City and have a large-scale sacrifice of tens of thousands of people? Then it must be very interesting, and the reward for dominating the demon god must be quite a lot. A man in black robes sitting opposite the elder of the Tang family spoke. The man's voice was hoarse. Just listening to the voice, he had no idea whether the person speaking was a man. Female. Do you have this ability? A man in black robe next to him said coldly. I have chosen a target. As long as you have the ability to intercept the Judgment Army in Shangjing City and prevent it from leaving the sea for 4 hours, I can sacrifice all the more than 70,000 people on Changlong Island without leaving a single one behind. Let the Councillor Bishops of the Dark God of War take a closer look at who has the final say on the sea. Is it really the Blood Demon cult? This Tang family elder is indeed a remnant of the Blood Demon cult. Xiaoping's spirit suddenly cheered up. But, I just don't know who the other people are? With such a strong tone, and the altar leader, although he did not appear, he should be the real person in charge of the Blood Demon sect in Shangjing City. Just as Xiaoping was thinking this, he saw the lucky boy who was sitting on the head of the Tang family jumped onto the head of the person next to him. He took out a small bird from under his red belly band and put it on the person's head. I also peed a little on my head, then jumped on the person next to me and peed a little more. In just the blink of an eye, the heads of the other 7 people in the room were all peed on by Lucky Boy's urine. Although the urine was not as large as the one that the God of Fortune boy had sprinkled on the heads of the elders of the Tang family before, it seemed to have a strange effect. As soon as the urine was peed, Xiaoping saw a faint dark green light on the heads of those people. It's very eye-catching, like a mark. The God of Fortune boy sat back on the elder Tang's head triumphantly. I'm afraid your life at sea will not be so comfortable in the future. The man who brought the elders of the Tang family here spoke. What do you mean? The man who just said that he would sacrifice more than 70,000 people on Changlong Island immediately asked in displeasure. This is also one of the contents arranged by the altar leader for this gathering. According to the information from our informant, Das Han Kingdom recently obtained the alloy casting technology and high explosives of the 400mm cannon from Dating Kingdom in Mujiao Prefecture. The key technology, just a few days ago, Baitang Wangchuan had completed the test firing in the underground city of Shangjing City with several giant cannons obtained from Dating Kingdom. The range and power of the giant cannons were astonishing and could be completely suppressed. The residence contains creatures and summons below the 3 Yang realm. Even if we are hit by that giant cannon when we are unprepared, we may be seriously injured or even shattered to pieces. Moreover, the high explosive has no divine power fluctuations and is difficult to detect. If it is made into a weapon by the Dark God of War to deal with us, it will be very difficult to handle. The Great Shang State has already begun to prepare for the casting of giant cannons and large-scale production of high explosives. Once the various cities and navies of the Great Shang State are completely refitted, the situation that the Great Shang State will face underground and at sea there is a possibility of radical changes, which would be very detrimental to us. What does the Altar Master want us to do? Elder Tang asked. The deal between Das Han Kingdom and Mujia's Dating Kingdom was facilitated by Baitang Wangchuan. The replacement plan of Das Han Kingdom's navy and underground city was also personally led by Baitang Wangchuan. Now several armies in Das Han Kingdom are factories, shipyards, research institutes and steel plants are preparing for the pre-production of giant cannons and high explosives. The complete technical data of the giant cannons and high explosives are still in Baitang Wangchuan's hands. As long as Baitang Wangchuan is killed, Sichuan, if we seize the technical data in his hands, the Great Shang Kingdom will fall into civil strife, and their remodeling plan will also be terminated. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 207. Baitang Wangchuan? The name Xiaoping is so familiar that it doesn't matter if you're not familiar with it. That is the crown prince of the Great Shang Kingdom, the patriarch of the Dark War God religion. In the entire Shangjing City, the entire Great Shang Kingdom, and Baitang Wangchuan, he is the kind of person who stands at the top of the pyramid. He is truly one person under 10,000 people. Xiaoping naturally knows the name Baitang Wangchuan. Unexpectedly, the Blood Demon sect would actually attack the Crown Prince of the Great Shang Kingdom. This news is of great value. Even while sitting in the carriage, Xiaoping's heart was beating violently. The meeting in the bilge of the Heikan cruise ship was still going on. What the man just said also shocked other people in the meeting, and there was a brief silence in the room. If Baitang Wangchuan is easy to kill, then why wait until now? A man sitting opposite the Tang family elder said coldly. Baitang Wangchuan is already a powerful summoner in the Five Yang realm. All of us here, I'm afraid no one can be Baitang Wangchuan's opponent, not to mention, Baitang Wangchuan is surrounded by powerful people like Lin, and I heard that Baitang Wangchuan is also surrounded by the royal family of the Seven Sun realm for secret protection. How to start? Yes, do you really think that those people in the Judgment Army are just for free? Another person next to him said, although our strength is not weak, in the Great Shang state, we must admit that they still have the advantage. Baitang Wangchuan will leave Shangjing on May 15 next month and take an airship to Bihai Port to participate in the launching ceremony of the new admiralship of the Great Shang Navy and the subsequent fleet review. At that time, Baitang Wangchuan will, when the guards are at their weakest, the altar master has made arrangements. When the time comes, the altar master will contain the royal ministers around Baitang Wangchuan. You are responsible for containing the other guards around Baitang Wangchuan and the masters of the fleet. Someone will be responsible for killing Baitang Wangchuan. This operation is of great importance. The altar leader requires you to use all your strength, even if you expose part of our strength in Shangjing City and Dashang State. As the person speaking spoke, he took out 7 black crystals with a move of his hand and handed them to the others present, 1 piece for each person. This is the task assigned to each of you by the altar master. Take a look. The 7 people each received a piece of black crystal and immersed their minds into the crystal. In just a few seconds, they understood the content and information in the crystal, and then crushed the black crystal one by one. Even if Xiaoping'an has the blessing god boy in the room, the blessing god boy will not be able to know the specific contents and arrangements in those crystals, and Xiaoping'an will naturally not know. I have another question. Majiao Prefecture's dating kingdom has not been outstanding in the field of firearms manufacturing before. I have never heard of any great masters in dating kingdom. The giant cannons and high explosives have always been the focus of various industries. It is a project that everyone is focusing on researching, but it is very difficult and the progress of all countries is very slow. Why does the Great Ting Kingdom suddenly have such capabilities? It can actually complete both giant cannons and high explosives at the same time. A breakthrough, someone in the room suddenly asked. This is also the second thing I want to say next. The reason why Dating Kingdom's firearms research has advanced rapidly in a short period of time and brought us huge trouble is because Dating Kingdom has obtained the weapon of a sky traveler. Help! Those who travel through the sky are those who entered the world of Yuankai from the secondary plane suppressed by the Dark Tower of the dominant demon god. Yes, it's them. Those skywalkers are rebels who overestimate their capabilities and want to challenge the dominant demon god to dominate the order of the subplane. Their general strength is very low and insignificant, but some skywalkers are skilled in firearms and the machinery has powerful capabilities that ordinary people cannot imagine, and it can cause us a lot of trouble. This time, the person who made Dating Kingdom's firearms research advance by leaps and bounds is a space traveler with this ability. What instructions does the altar master have? According to the instructions of the altar master, several skywalkers have come to Arginia continent, and some of them may have arrived in the Great Shang Kingdom. If anyone in the Blood Demon sect encounters those skywalkers, they will kill them without mercy. If you can kill a skywalker, you will be rewarded with an immortal pill. The man spoke in a forest tone. Elixir of immortality. Several people wearing masks in the room exclaimed, as if this was some kind of amazing elixir. What do those people look like and how to find them? Someone asked. The person who just spoke moved his hand, and 4 more portraits appeared in his hand. These are the appearances of several skywalkers who may have come to Jinya continent. Remember this, please go ahead. If you encounter them in the future, you must not let them go, they live. 4 portraits were placed on the table. The faces of the characters in the portraits were clear and lifelike. The God of Fortune boy jumped on the table and took a look. Several faces in the portraits appeared in Xiaoping's consciousness. When he saw the 4 portraits, Xiaoping's heartbeat almost stopped. Because Xiaoping saw his portrait at first sight. In addition to Xiaoping's own portrait, the other 3 portraits include Yan Duo, Wu Zhanfeng, and a summoner named Lin Cheng. Looking at the portraits on the table, Mr. Tang's fingers on his thighs trembled, and the gaze behind the mask paused for a moment on Xiaoping's portrait. Of course he remembered Xiaoping's face, but the Tang family was very cunning and did not show any abnormality at this time. Soon, several people gathered in this room left here one by one through the underwater passage at the bottom of the cabin, one by one turned into black smoke, submerged into the water, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The person holding the waterproof bead left last. After closing the underwater hatch, the person went up the stairs from another secret passage in the bilge. In a short time, he entered a luxurious part of the cruise ship. In the suite, he took off his black robe and mask and transformed into a handsome middle-aged man. He took a pile of chips and went to the casino. The middle-aged man had just walked out of the room when he met a greasy man holding 2 beautiful women in his arms. When the greasy man saw the middle-aged man, he was slightly surprised and immediately hugged the 2 beautiful women. His hands were loosened and his body was a little stiff. "Ah, Captain Su. Ah, don't be nervous, don't be nervous, I'm just here to play." The man said with a smile, "There is no Captain Su here, only Mr. Su who is here to have fun, do you understand?" "I understand, I understand, I understand." The greasy man nodded quickly. The middle-aged man patted the greasy man's shoulder, pinched one of the beautiful women's faces unceremoniously, and smiled, "You're a pretty girl, enjoy it." After that, he left. "Who is that person? He's so rude and pinches other people's faces. Why don't you tell me?" After Captain Su left, a woman next to the greasy man curled her lips and said coquettishly with dissatisfaction, "If you don't want to become a bone in the river, just serve me well and don't ask so many questions." "Okay," the greasy man explained with some palpitations. The 2 women nodded, changed their expressions, and did not dare to ask any more questions. The lucky boy flashed, smiled, and left the man's head. In the blink of an eye, he caught up with Elder Tang again and sat on Elder Tang's neck. The elders of the Tang family returned to the Dewan Guild Hall. Not long after he lay on the bed, he heard a knock on the door. "Who?" "Elder, it's me, Tang Long. It's so late. Can't we talk about it tomorrow if we have something to do?" The Elder Tang's pretending to be dignified voice sounded in the room. "Elder, I just found a wanted notice outside. It feels a bit strange, so I brought it to Elder to take a look at." "Wanted order? What wanted order?" The door of the room opened, and Tang Long came in, holding Xiaoping's wanted notice in his hand. "Elder, look, isn't this person the one who was hit by the lost soul technique before? I didn't expect that this person was also in the capital. Is actually wanted." Seeing Xiaoping's face on the wanted poster, the face of the Tang family elders changed slightly. "Sir, we've arrived at Changle Lane." At some point, the carriage stopped. The driver got out of the car and opened the carriage door to Xiaoping respectfully. It was only at this time that Xiaoping woke up from a dream on the carriage and suddenly came back to his senses. Gas lamps were lit on the roadside outside, several mansions and compounds were looming in the darkness, and the sound of the watchman echoed in the night. The street next to Pingshan was quiet and peaceful. But for Xiaoping, he only felt that the night in the capital was full of dangers and made people feel heart-stopping. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 208. Xiaoping paid the fare and walked towards the alley. The street lights in the alley stretched his back. The house he rented was in Changle Lane. Walking through the alley alone, unlocking the door and returning to the quiet courtyard, The black dragon guarding the house rushed over and kept licking Xiaoping's hand. Xiaoping touched the black dragon's head, returned to the living room, and did not light the lamp. He sat in front of the window of the living room near the courtyard, looking at the sparse moonlight and tree shadows outside, burying himself in the shadow of the room, slightly narrowed his eyes. The information he got tonight made Xiaoping suddenly understand the hidden dangers of going to the capital, and he had to sort it out carefully. The information sent back by the God of Fortune was so crucial. If it hadn't been for the God of Fortune, Xiaoping probably wouldn't have known how he would die in the future. Unfortunately, he had thought about breaking into the Blood Demon sect before, but he didn't expect that the Blood Demon sect was already there. Sharpening the knife, Xuanhuan issued a killing order to him. If he dares to come into contact with those people from the Blood Demon sect, he is throwing himself into a trap, like a moth flying into the flames. Skywalker. These three words made Xiaoping's heart tighten. The Blood Demon sect already knew his identity and origin, which made Xiaoping feel a huge crisis. He was not the first batch of Sky Warriors to come to this world. Many Sky Warriors had come to this world before, so this only in this world can we have such a proper term as the Skywalker. Moreover, from the conversation between the Blood Demon cult members just now, Xiaoping also keenly discovered two key pieces of information. The Dark Tower is a tool used by the dominant demon god to suppress the subdimensional world. The suppressed subplanes are definitely not just the one from which I came, there may be other worlds, because those people use the plural word those when talking about subplanes. Skywalkers are people who sneak into this world from the subdimensional world. In addition to himself, Yan Duo, Wu Zhanfeng and the others may also have had an accident in the space passage and arrived at Jinyu continent. But how did the people of the Blood Demon sect know that they had arrived at Jinyu continent, and how did they even know what they looked like? Even if one of his companions falls into the hands of the Blood Demon cult and is interrogated, it is impossible for his companion to know that he has come to Jinyu continent. Could it be that the upper echelons of the Blood Demon cult possess some incredibly powerful secret method that can lock the whereabouts of the Skycrosser? This information gave Xiaoping a new understanding of the Blood Demon cult and made him feel frightened. The Blood Demon cult in this world was by no means comparable to the previous Demon Eye. In this world, his relationship with the Blood Demon cult was, just like the previous relationship between the Lamplighter and the Devil's Eye on Earth, it has been completely reversed. He has become the target of being hunted by the Blood Demon cult. Once his identity is exposed, he will die. Since the Blood Demon sect has the ability to assassinate the Crown Prince of the Great Shang Kingdom, the Blood Demon sect's strength in the Great Shang Kingdom is absolutely terrifying. If they want their own lives, it would be easier. For a long period of time from now on, I will never be able to act in public again. That would be making myself a target, which is too dangerous. The Blood Demon sect and himself are already mortal enemies, so will there be any changes for me on the side of the Great Shang Kingdom and the Judgment Army? I used my true colors when I joined the Judgment Army. If the Great Shang State and the Judgment Army knew that I was a Skycrosser, what would their attitude be towards the Skycrosser? Will you be in danger? Xiaoping, who was sitting in the darkness, closed his eyes and began to act in his head. Just a moment later, cold sweat appeared on Xiaoping's forehead. Xiaoping opened his eyes again, with a hint of shock in his eyes. He had just performed a magic performance of what would happen if the senior officials of the Great Shang Kingdom and the Judgment Army knew his identity as a space traveler. The final outcome that all possibilities converged on was still death. Once his identity is exposed, the Adjudication Army and the Great Shang Kingdom will not kill him. Instead, they will be wary of him and restrict him while using him. After squeezing out all his value and knowledge, they will then use him as bait. This time, he lured people from the Blood Demon sect to take the bait, so that the Great Shang Kingdom and the Judgment Army could eliminate the hidden Blood Demon sect members in the Great Shang Kingdom. In the collision between two behemoths, the space traveler caught in the middle was too insignificant, and the possibility of him surviving in the end was extremely slim. The Judgment Army still doesn't know the identity of the Skycrosser for the time being, but as time goes by, it is inevitable that his identity will be exposed to the Judgment Army, and it cannot be concealed at all. No matter if someone in the Judgment Army breaks into if you go inside the Blood Demon cult, or if the Judgment Army comes into contact with the Blood Demon cult, your identity may be leaked. The most likely possibility is that the Blood Demon sect will take the initiative to reveal his identity as a space traveler through some channel, and then use power outside the Blood Demon sect to find him out. The fastest way to find yourself and others. Once the Blood Demon cult does this, your identity will be exposed instantly. If it were not for the fusion of the Fortune World Pearl and the Fortune Boy, I would be like a blind man walking on the edge of a cliff without knowing it. However, now that I know it, the initiative has returned to my own hands. Xiaoping's eyes gradually calmed down, and slowly became firm and profound. Finally, a smile appeared on Xiaoping's lips. Then he stood up, passed through the secret door, entered the underground secret room, came to the stone bed for cultivation, and sat cross-legged on the futon. Okay, then I took out the 4 world beads I bought tonight. There are 5 world beads with different colors and lights. Touching these 5 lovely world beads in his hand, Xiaoping's heart feels at ease again. This world is like this, everything depends on strength. As long as your strength becomes stronger and stronger, sooner or later, all obstacles and enemies in front of you will be wiped out. His eyes wandered around among the 5 boundary beads. Xiaoping picked up the most expensive Tianguang Lunyang boundary bead, put away the other 4 boundary beads, then took out a silver needle and pricked his finger. The blood began to fuse on the boundary bead. This world bead can summon powerful assassins, which is what Xiaoping needs most now. At the same time, Xiaoping also wanted to see what the famous Jingke looked like. The boundary pearl absorbed the blood, and in just a short time, Xiaoping's entire body was enveloped in a cocoon of light. When he opened his eyes again, Xiaoping found himself sitting in front of a desk, which was piled with fine wine and food. He was in a gorgeous hall, and there were dancers dancing in the hall. Apart from himself, there are 5 people sitting in the main hall. A young man in rich clothes is sitting on the table next to him. On both sides of the main hall, there are 4 tables with 4 people sitting on them. Everyone is eating, while enjoying singing and dancing. Mr. has been a chivalrous and righteous man all his life. He is wise and brave. When he was young, he traveled to various countries. He must have seen many powerful and brave men. Now in this hall, I feel that Xiaofu, Songyi, Qin Wang, and Jingke, they which of the 4 is the bravest and can take on big tasks, the young man in colorful clothes next to him asked. Xiaoping turned his head and looked at Yan Taizidan. To be honest, Yan Taizidan was very handsome. He was tall, fair-skinned, and had sharp edges on his face. He also had a heroic spirit. Just for appearance, this Yan Taizidan was better than many so-called young people. Fresh meat is more than 100 times stronger. Those who dare to assassinate the king of Qin are not short of courage and courage. But the only thing is that Prince Yan's eyes are long and slanted, his lips are slightly thin, and although he speaks in a kind manner, Xiaoping can't stand it at a glance. I know that this guy is scheming and the kind of person who will do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. To be honest, Xiaoping doesn't like Prince Yan Dan. To a certain extent, Prince Dan Yan is just a dignitary of the Yan kingdom who is unwilling to be washed away by the torrent of history, and who likes to play opportunistic tricks and play tricks to the death. Tianguang, a generation of heroes who worked hard for Prince Dan of Yan, was finally forced to commit suicide by Prince Dan of Yan, which is sad. Qin Wang, who was favored by Prince Dan of Yan, was stunned when he came in front of Qin Shiwang. They didn't dare to move. In order to win over Jingke, Prince Yan Dan also tried all kinds of means, just to make Jing Ke feel that he owed him and had no choice but to sacrifice his life for him. I don't know if cutting off Prince Yan's head now will change history, and what will be the consequences of fusing this world pearl. Xiaopinggan looked at the long sword in his hand, and then at Prince Yan's neck, and this thought suddenly flashed through his head. But this thought just flashed. This world bead is too expensive. Since it can be fused steadily and successfully, Xiaopinggan doesn't want to take unnecessary risks for unknown results. If he kills Prince Yan Dan by himself, then after being chopped into pieces by those warriors in the main hall and failing to fuse the boundary pearl, it would be too bad. Various thoughts flashed through Xiaopinggan's head, and then Xiaopinggan decided to follow the rules. As soon as Prince Dan of Yan asked this question, Xiaopinggan deliberately said loudly, "I heard that the soldiers of Qin state are brave and the Qin army's bows and crossbows are the best in the world. O braver warrior!" Xiaopinggan's words were heard by everyone in the entire hall. Prince Yan Dan looked stunned, while the other 4 people sitting in the hall looked at Xiaopinggan at the same time, their eyes full of anger. "Why did you say this, sir?" Prince Yan Dan was also stunned. Xiaopinggan laughed loudly and pointed at the other 4 people with different expressions in the hall. "Don't be surprised, Your Highness. What Tianguang said just now was just to answer the question His Highness just asked, so that His Highness can understand who is the bravest among the 4 of them. Please, Your Highness." Looking at it, after what I said just now, Xiaofu was angry and his face was red. He was a brave man of blood. Song Yi was angry and his face was green. He was a man of bravery. Qin Wang was angry and his face was white. He was a brave man of bones. Only Jing Ke, who is angry but has an unchanging face, is a brave man, and a brave man can take on great tasks. Prince Yan suddenly understood. The entire world of Jizu was shattered all at once. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 209. This world bead merged so fast. It was the fastest of all the world beads that Xiaopinggan merged. The fusion was completed in just 2 sentences. The whole process took less than 3 minutes, and the world of Jizu was shattered and the fusion was successful. Xiaopinggan, who was sitting cross-legged in the underground secret room, opened his eyes, took out his pocket watch and took a look. Only 1 minute had passed, and the world bead had already been fused. In the sky caisson of the temple of the secret mandala, there are 36 more points of divine power. At the same time, in the mandala, there is an additional sculpture by Tianguang Lunyang. In the sculpture, Jing Ke is sitting in front of the case, his face unchanged. The word brave in the Golden Mountain is also lit up and activated. Later, Xiaopinggan continued to take out the world beads to fuse, and in one go, he perfectly fused the remaining 4 world beads. Su Gao's boundary pearl tells the story of the Wanchao Palace built by Ming craftsman Su Gao during the Jiajing period of the Ming dynasty. When the Wanchao Palace caught fire, Emperor Jiajing wanted to rebuild the Wanchao Palace. This was a big project. Finally, Lei Li, the minister of the Ministry of Industry, appointed Su Gao to be responsible for the construction. Su Gao adapted to local conditions and used the old Wanchao Palace materials and bricks, plus the platform base, the raw materials stored in the No. 2 Shangzi factory and the old bricks and stones from Xuanhuan were used to gather the raw materials. Then they recruited beggars and refugees in the capital, as well as sergeants who had not participated in the training to participate in the construction. In the end, they only received it from the battalion and repair department of the Ministry of Industry. With very little money and materials, the court and the Ming dynasty did not feel any burden, so they renovated the Wanchao Palace, which was praised by the court and the people. As long as those who understand this historical fact can fuse this world bead, it will take a while and be completely within their reach. The world bead with the name Xiaopumen is also very simple to fuse. Most people don't recognize the name Xiaopingin, but those who study history, especially the history of the Song dynasty, will definitely know this man. During the Jingkong incident, Xiaopingin, who was an official in the Ministry of Household Affairs of the Song dynasty, was captured by the Jin dynasty. The Jin people wanted to capture all the royal family members in Beijing, so they went to Zhongzheng Temple to seize a large number of royal genealogies for Xiaopingin, an official of the Ministry of Household Affairs, to identify them. In that case, Xiaopingin took advantage of the Jin people's inattention and secretly threw 2 or 3/10 of the genealogy of the Song dynasty royal family into the fire and burned it. Finally, 2 or 3/10 of the royal family members in the Song dynasty capital were able to he survived because of Xiaoping's burning of the genealogy. Xiaopingin, who transformed into Xiaopingin, desperately burned nearly half of the genealogy of the Song dynasty royal family, and finally escaped from the Jin people, rewriting history again. As a result, this divine power world bead gave Xiaopingin new powers. It exploded again. Just this world bead allowed Xiaopingin to increase his divine power by 120 points again. Su Gao built the longevity palace out of wisdom, and Xiaopingin burned the royal family genealogy as a sign of loyalty. 1 wisdom and 1 loyalty left their names in history and were praised by future generations. Zhuolong was the son of Gong Gong, the legendary water god, and was named the god of Hutu. Zhuolong controlled water before Deu, and his method was completely different from Deu. Xiaopingin, who merged with Zhuolong's world pearl, controlled the flood again in the world pearl. However, his method of controlling the flood this time was not to dig, but to accumulate soil. In the world pearl, Xiaopingin directed the people living in the world. Before the flood, the tribesmen in the plain areas accumulated large mounds of earth on the ground and dug mounds of earth. When the flood came, everyone went to the mounds to avoid the flood. At the same time, Xiaopingin also, according to historical records, only 25 families can live on each mound. These 25 families are collectively called a shi. This is one of the origins of Shiji. At the same time, Zhuolong is also called the god of society. The Tang Oath was the decree and contract issued by Shangtang against Xiaoji during the Battle of Mingtiao. Because of the Tang Oath, in the Battle of Mingtiao, Shangtang's army had high morale and finally won a great victory. The successful fusion of the Zhuolong World Pearl gave Xiaopingin an additional earth-based summoning spell, while the successful fusion of the Tang Oath World Pearl gave Xiaopingin an additional Tang Oath buff spell, which can be summoned. The characters who come out have greatly increased their combat power. Xiaopingin spent half a night to successfully fuse 5 world beads, and the divine power in the secret mandala increased by 317 points. I'm afraid no one would believe the speed of fusing 5 world beads in one night, because it's so abnormal. On the second night, after dark, Xiaopingin came to Bailing Lane again after some preparations. Red lanterns hang high at the entrance of the brothel in Bailing Lane. The busiest time here is at night. There is an endless stream of men coming here to have fun. In those brothels, there are sounds of flirting and drinking. The aroma of wine and meat mixed with the aroma of rouge and gouache floats in the Bailing Alley, which is exciting. Reverie. Seeing Xiaopingin, the 2 turtle men at the door of the brothel gave him a disgusted look and waved their hands. Hey, don't hang around here, leave quickly, don't block our business. That's right. Where does poverty come from? It's so unlucky. Xiaopingin glanced at the brothel from his disheveled hair, and then walked slowly towards Wu Viazai. At this moment, Xiaopingin was wearing a dirty grey coat that looked like it hadn't been washed for who knows how many days. His grey-white hair was disheveled and his beard covered most of his face, even the exposed skin on his face. It's a little black, and although it's not a beggar, it looks like it's getting better soon. With this appearance, even if Xiaopingin's wanted notice was posted at the door of the brothel, the 2 turtle men would not be able to recognize him. It would be perfect for someone like him to enter a pawn shop. When he arrived at Wu Viazai, The boy at the door also looked at him with disgust, but still led Xiaopingan in. When he came to the pawn shop, Xiaopingan saw Lan Wubai drinking tea in the pawn shop with a leisurely look. Until he walked to the counter, Lan Wubai didn't recognize Xiaopingan at a glance. "What do you want?" the guy at the counter asked at the counter. "Is your shopkeeper here?" Xiaopingan's voice was hoarse and haggard, like an old man's. "I am the shopkeeper here. What do you want to be?" Lan Wubai turned around and looked at Xiaopingan. "I was here as a treasure last time. Did shopkeeper Lan forget me so quickly? I still have something here." "Shopkeeper Lan, would you like to see it?" Xiaopingan raised his head and glanced at Lan Wubai. Lan Wubai and Xiaopingan looked at each other and finally recognized Xiaopingan. He was so excited that he quickly asked the servant to take Xiaopingan to the room named Xiang behind the front hall. Xiaopingan arrived in the secret room and didn't wait 2 minutes before Lan Wubai arrived. "What's wrong with you? Why is the police wanted for you? Did you kill the son of the Sun family?" Lan Wubai stared at Xiaopingan seriously as soon as he entered the secret room and asked directly. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 210. Xiaopingan ignored Lan Wubai, but slowly took off his wig and the beard stuck to his face in front of Lan Wubai, revealing his true colors bit by bit. Xiaopingan did not have the ability to use the mask, but only used makeup to change his appearance to meet Lan Wubai. That peculiar mask would be one of his trump cards for survival in the capital city in the future, and he didn't want to expose it without a chance or a word. Put on a wig, glue on a fake beard, make your skin darker, and wear shabby clothes? It's so late at night that no one can recognize Xiaopingan. Until now, Lan Wubai and the Judgment Army still don't know that he has changed his identity. There are not many resources and energy to pay attention to him. These Yamen in the capital are too lawless. I was almost killed by that son of the Sun family this time. Why are you asking me why the Sun family wants me? Xiaopingan stared at Lan Wubai with a dissatisfied look on his face, and his tone became stern, and he scolded directly, "I am a member of the Judgment Army and the Shadow Guard. I was chased like a dog outside. I was very precarious. I was almost killed by a group of people. People were surrounded and killed in Shangjing City. In order to complete the task, I did not reveal my identity even in the most dangerous time. Why do you still come to ask me? Don't the Judgment Army investigate the wanted order against me? What's going on? Or is it that such a large ruling army can't even handle a Sun family's Yamen? It can't even protect a shadow guard. It really disappoints me." Seeing Xiaopingan's anger, Lan Wubai frowned slightly, but patiently sat down in front of Xiaopingan, and softened his tone a little. "The police and the Judgment Army in Shangjing City are two systems, and they are not subordinate to each other. The relationship here is very complicated. I just found out yesterday that you were wanted, and I haven't reported your situation yet. I was just waiting for you to explain that Sun Hao from the Sun family is missing and may have been killed. The police suspect that you are involved regarding this. According to people from the Sun family, Mr. Sun had a conflict with you before, so the police issued a wanted order for you. What is going on? That Sun Hao and I met for the first time a few days ago at Tianyuan Qiao night market. I saw a boundary bead that could summon Xuanhuan's child, so I bought it first. Later, that Sun Hao came and knew that I had a pearl in my hand that could summon Xuanhuan. The boy's world pearl insists on buying it from me at the original price. Damn it, who does he think he is? I think he is unhappy and refuses to sell it. He asked the police to search for me in the night market that night and lay charges on me. I finally escaped from the Tianyuan Bridge night vision with great difficulty. Damn it, I didn't expect the capital city to be so chaotic. A young master from the Sun family could actually mobilize the police to arrest the summoner at will." Xiaopingan told the story of his conflict with Sun Hao bit by bit. "I didn't think much about it at the time. After leaving Tianyuan Qiao night market, I returned to the small apartment I rented. I never thought that while I was sleeping until midnight, a large number of bounty hunters and police suddenly came to where I lived. Wanted to put me to death. After I fought with those people, I managed to escape. I have been hiding in the Middle East of Shangjing City for the past few days, and I have become a wanted criminal for no reason. The disappearance of Sun Hao is none of my business. Xiaoping'an will never admit Sun Hao's matter. Anyway, no one knows about it, and there is no evidence to prove that he did it. Although the Judgment Army is powerful, it is impossible to cover everything that happened in the capital. If the Judgment Army really knew everything, there wouldn't be so many people in the Blood Demon sect who could hide in the upper capital and plan big moves. Denying any involvement in Sun Hao's disappearance would also prevent people from thinking that he had obtained the strange mask on Sun Hao's body. Lan Wubai stared at Xiaoping'an, his brows furrowed deeper. Sun Hao's disappearance really has nothing to do with you. How could it have anything to do with me? After we said goodbye at the night market, I never saw him again. I escaped from the apartment and a lot of summoners and police were chasing me. It's good if I can save my life. Sun Hao, how do I know where he is? A person like him must be surrounded by bodyguards or something. I am running for my life, and I still have the ability to make him disappear immediately. Don't you think too highly of me? You can ask the Judgment Army to investigate. Look at when Sun Hao disappeared, and see if I was running for my life at that time. By the way, I saw on the wanted notice that there were 2 bounty hunters that Sun Hao arranged to chase me that night. This what's going on? Why are they also wanted? Those 2 bounty hunters are the people who were arranged by Sun Hao to hunt you down. Lan Wubai raised his eyebrows and asked with some surprise. Before, he thought those 2 people were people Xiaoping'an knew, but he didn't expect those 2 people. It's interesting that he is actually the one chasing Xiaoping'an. Sun Hao used a lot of police to chase me that night. Those 2 bounty hunters acted together with the police. You can go and investigate. Could it be that Sun Hao and I arranged for the people who came after me to kill Sun Hao together? Wow, this is too ridiculous, Xiaoping'an said directly. Trash like Sun Hao has offended countless people in Shangjing City. Some people want to deal with him. That's normal. It's just that I was unlucky and was hit by him. Come on, the arrest warrant issued by the Beijing police is completely illogical and self-contradictory. I will find out, Lan Wubai nodded. Can you ask the police to withdraw my wanted order first? If I am wanted all the time, I won't be able to show up in public. It would be too inconvenient. Lan Wubai thought for a while and said slowly, I just told you that the situation in Shangjing City is very complicated. The Judgment Army and the police are not in the same system. The 2 sides are restraining each other to a certain extent. If the Judgment Army is the relationship with you can help you cancel your wanted order, which will make people suspicious of your identity, and your identity as a shadow guard may be exposed. You are wanted now, which actually has an advantage. Benefits, what benefits? As a wanted criminal, when you approach the Blood Demon sect, the Blood Demon sect will not doubt your identity. Xiaoping'an was not surprised at all by Lan Wuibai's statement. The result was the same as what he had imagined. Sure enough, for Lan Wuibai and the Judgment Army, the greatest value of his existence was that he could break into the Blood Demon cult and help them eradicate it. For those members of the Blood Demon cult lurking in the upper capital, the safety of a small person like themselves is actually insignificant. They are just a small screw in the huge violent machine of the Judgment Army and the Shadow Guard. Seeing Xiaoping'an's unhappy expression, Lan Wuibai continued to comfort him and solemnly explained, Don't worry, if you are really caught, we will definitely find a way to save you, and we won't really let you take the blame for Mr. Sun's affairs. Damn it, it's just that your identity may be exposed at that time, so unless absolutely necessary, your identity as a shadow guard cannot be exposed. At this point, Lan Wuibai seemed to have thought of something else. By the way, You just said I obtained a Xuanhuan boy's world bead. Has that world bead been fused? Not yet, Xiaoping'an shook his head. Can the Judgment Army provide me with a divine mind crystal that integrates the Xuanhuan boy realm pearl? It's a little compensation. Lan Wuivai looked at Xiaoping'an steadily, and suddenly laughed. Do you know what you are talking about? Even Master Baizu may not be able to get Qinhuan's spiritual crystal. That thing is hard to come by. If there was such a thing, it would probably have been used by the Judgment Army long ago. In the entire Judgment Army, there is only one summoner who can summon the Xuanhuan boy. That adult is still responsible for protecting the safety of the Imperial City and has the responsibility of it. Such an important task. If I can get that thing, why am I still here guarding the pawn shop? Speaking of the Imperial City, I have come across a piece of information in the past few days. I wonder if it is useful. Xiaoping'an began to throw out his own bait. What's the message? Has His Royal Highness the Crown Prince entered the underground city a few days ago to test the power of the 400mm cannon that Dashang recently obtained from Dating Kingdom in Majiao Prefecture? Moreover, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince has been secretly arranging some institutions in Dashang. Are you and the factory preparing to imitate the production? Lan Wuivai was stunned for a moment, then his expression completely changed, and his eyes flashed. Because he didn't even know the information Xiaoping'an just said. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince's whereabouts into the underground city. The Dashang Kingdom obtained the 400mm cannon technology from the Ting Kingdom, and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince's secret arrangements to prepare the production of the 400mm cannon. These are all top secrets of the Dashang Kingdom. He couldn't access the information at his level, so how did Xiaoping'an know? How did you know? Lan Wuivai immediately asked. I came into contact with a person these days, and that person told me. Who's that person? That person was very mysterious. When he came into contact with me, he was wrapped in a black mist. I didn't know who he was. I found out that he might have known the identity of my ruling army and deliberately revealed this news to me. Lan Wuivai frowned tightly. Why did he reveal this news to you? He wanted to make an exchange with me. When he told me this information, he said that it was just a meeting gift to prove the truth of what he said. If this information is useful, he is willing to tell me another secret hidden in Shangjing City. The identity of the member of the Blood Demon cult, provided that I have enough resources to exchange with him. Hearing the words Blood Demon cult, Lan Wuivai couldn't sit still. He stood up suddenly. What does that person want? There are 20,000 gold coins for the sacred springs from the 1 Yang realm to the 4 Yang realm. Xiaoping'an reported what he wanted without blinking an eyelid. The members of the Blood Demon sect who gathered on the cruise ship last night never imagined that in the blink of an eye, Xiaoping'an could actually sell them as pigs.